Alright, hi there, this is Steven with Karma Astrology. I'm coming to you live from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Today is Sunday, May 23rd, 2021. It is 9:22 a.m. here in Santa Fe, and I hope you're all having a great weekend and enjoying what's left of it. And I guess it's getting into the night in the Eastern Hemisphere, the other part of the world. So I hope you all have a great weekend and are ready to start your week on a good note tomorrow. So that being said, the moon currently is in Chitra Nakshatra, as you can see in this with this text down here, Chitra Nakshatra, and the moon is in Virgo right now. And Chitra actually bridges the gap between Virgo down in the corner, that VIR box, and Libra down here. So Libra is the box directly below me down here. And so the Nakshatra, or the constellation of Chitra, shows the gap, or it's equal parts in, it has 2 feet or 2 padas, whatever, in Virgo, and 2 padas in Libra. And so what that shows is that it's kind of this, it just is this transitional zone in the zodiac that's, it has a similar energy. You know, there's a similar vibe that on the cusp of the earth and air signs, like Virgo to Libra, over here in Capricorn to Aquarius. There's this, Shatabisha, which bridges both, Dhanisha, bridges both, it's equal parts in Capricorn and Aquarius. And then you can see up here in Taurus, you can't see on the map or anything, or on the chart, but in that area between the constellation of Taurus and the constellation of Gemini over there, we have Mrigashira, which we actually have Mercury and Venus in currently right now. So a little bit of that transition zone. Like I've been saying the last few days, we have a propensity of Earth energy right now. And I say that because we have all of this up here in Taurus with the Sun, Rahu, Ra, the north node of the moon, Venus, and Mercury all in the sign of Taurus up here. And then we have Saturn over here in Capricorn, and we have the moon down here in Virgo, at least for the next few hours. The moon takes about 2 hours to move 1 degree, so it's a degree and a half, so it's going to take about 3 hours until we get into Libra. But anyways, the moon in Chitra. So when the moon's in Chitra, Chitra is the nakshatra. Well, it relates to our mind in a lot of ways, as chit literally translates as our kind of intellectual thinking capacity. It means to think or comprehend, to reflect, or to know, to intend, or to design. And Chitra means the brilliant one, or the multicolored one. And the reason is because it relates to this kind of divine sense of architecture through its deity, Tvastar. I think Tvastar, I know there's two, there's Tvastar, Tvastar, yeah, that's right. So Tvastar was the celestial, or is the celestial architect. So Tvastar kind of designed, everything in the universe in a way, from this ancient mythological perspective that we have, or religious perspective, depending on your culture and everything. And Tvastar kind of imbues us with the energy of organization, of kind of beauty through organization and structures, because architecture has a lot to do with design and making things kind of feel good and look good, and their architecture is meant to kind of create an atmosphere or some sort of mood. And so when it's not just about putting sound structure together, or knowing where the pillars in the building are, and all the different structural elements like the steel and or the wood or whatever you're using to create this kind of building or structure. It's more about it's just as much about the structural integrity of the building as it is about the design or the artistic nature of the building and what kind of emotions being in that space evokes. And that's what makes a truly great architect. And so we can even look at our bodies and the bodies of different animals and plants and marvel at the amazing architecture that goes into every single cell of our body, and the structure and organization of it, and how it all fits together, as well as just the beauty that it creates, and this the kind of synergy, the energetic synergy that it creates when we're kind of taking I don't know, just the idea of form coming out of the food that we eat, and evolving over time, and maybe even being manipulated in certain ways over time. I've been watching a lot of Ancient Aliens. But yeah, there's definitely ways that our bodies kind of form, and we are more attracted to certain people than others, based on their architecture, and where there's the whole gamut of beauty, of emotions that go into kind of the structure of the universe, and that's what Chitra has a lot to do with, being related to this Tvastar, this divine architect force. So the way that relates to us is that you might be feeling more connected to structural integrity. I know that's kind of a weird term, but I come from an engineering background. But yeah, so there's all the different kind of ways that we can form something or formulate ideas and concepts and goals. You might have a goal to create a certain project or create, something. And in order to do that, the first thing we do is to make an outline, or to make a rendering or a sketch or whatever, you're creating. We're kind of creating a drawing or some sort of structural element, or structural drawing, or blueprint, you could say, excuse me, that relates to, how that all is going to come together, how it's all going to be built, what steps we have to take along the process, and so that we are organized and we're clear and concise in understanding our process and our method. And so that, it's a great day to kind of formulate those structures on a day like today, and focus on, that architectural element of artistry and beauty, and, all those other good things. So that has a lot to do with today. The symbol of Chitra Nakshatra is a pearl, and the pearl is meant to kind of just show this inner hidden beauty, that comes through hard work, and the sense of agitation. When the oyster makes a pearl, it starts off as a grain of sand that makes its way into the oyster shell, and it acts as kind of an irritant to the oyster. Of course, a foreign element coming into your home, into your space, is not the most pleasant thing. But eventually they kind of create, just like the human body creates little proteins and all sorts of stuff in order to expel certain elements that come into our bodies, like when we, get acne or whatever. But in general, we also can see this in the pearl, and their acne is a little more beautiful than ours, perhaps. It ends up being solidified in this pearl. And so we can have this kind of hidden beauty to today. There's a sense of something just below the surface, or just out of reach, that we're kind of trying to attain or get to. And that could be that kind of beauty behind the structure of your building, or of your project that you're working on, and the overall kind of message, and how that can influence and help people, and based on how you kind of act in different ways, and the ways that you organize your whatever you're creating in order to create that effect. It's that effect that we're looking for on a day like today. So it's kind of like, what does it all come together? How does it all come together to really draw on people's emotions and feelings, and their sense of happiness, to kind of tap into that. So there's a lot of that going on today. And I see someone's in the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I like to just give these little daily speeches or sermons or just forecasts, whatever you want to call them, in order to give you an idea of what's happening in the world and how you can use that to your advantage on a daily basis, and kind of understand, at the start of the day or the end of the day, wherever you are, it ends at this time that I put down below, so that you can see, how long this energy is activated, and you can kind of catch up on a daily basis and just see just what the most recent video that I've produced is, and how, that's probably the most relevant video in terms of these astrological alignments, as they're always kind of moving. Planets are always moving through the sky. The moon and the sun are moving through the sky pretty quickly. So yeah, I like to talk about all of it. But in general, these are moon forecasts, which the moon moves about 13 degrees, more or less, on a daily basis. And so I like to talk about, what's most relevant for you on a daily basis. So that being said, let's get back to some of the things about Chitra. So it gives us this sense of creativity, obviously, and organization, and we can, obviously use those to analyze ourselves and see, where we're, maybe with our diet, what we're eating, and how it's, when we construct a meal that's well thought out, that's balanced, that has all the nutritional elements that we need in our life, then we can, enjoy the beauty and the good emotions that come from, eating good food and fulfilling the body and kind of giving it what it needs. So it has that kind of aspect of it. And Virgo in general has to do with this almost like healing, or this kind of doctor energy that, or any type of healer or medical practitioner that relates to our ability to kind of see clearly what we're doing to our body and how it's the effects that it has on the body. Recently, for example, I got a skin allergy and I was unsure where it came from. And, so I've just been doing kind of an isolation diet, and that relates a lot to Virgo, in order to figure out, what exact element did I add into my life that my body's rejecting, that my body's having a hard time expelling, that my body can't process. And that goes for our mind as well, of course. If we're learning things that are too in-depth for us or too shallow for us, we can kind of not be sated, or we can still kind of be confused and have a misunderstanding of what we're trying to learn. So today is a great day to reflect on, the information that you're learning, on what you're teaching, all the different things, in order to make it clear and concise and more understandable, so that it has that kind of beautiful effect on your being, on the people around you, and on yourself. So there's definitely this kind of sense of good fruit or good karma that kind of comes from intelligent work on a day like today. That's that kind of pearl that's being formed in the oyster. I would relate it to that kind of energy. There's definitely, let's see, it's nice for spiritual practices, because you can kind of get a picture of your practice in totality. My wife is a yoga teacher, and we were talking about the yoga practice being mainly about asana, and how there are 8 limbs to yoga, and therefore, we should really, I was suggesting that maybe we try and incorporate more of the 8 limbs into the yoga practice, so that it is more of a well-rounded, unified yoga practice, that has all the different structural elements of yoga in it, as defined in the Yoga Sutras, as opposed to maybe just the asana practice that we do here in the West, or in Western Europe and whatnot, and that kind of is more of the physical aspect of the practice, and the tapas and different elements of yoga that are all incorporated, pratyahara and all the different elements of yoga are incorporated into the asana, as they each are incorporated into the other. But I was saying, it'd be great to have that long meditation afterwards to really get the whole practice all together. And, that's my little spiel, side note story on Chitra. I was thinking about, the whole element, the whole totality of it, and how we can structure it to be more holistic and give people this deeper, more profound experience of their spiritual practice through yoga, if that's their spiritual practice of choice. Oh, how's it going, John? Nice to see you in here, man. Just soaking it all in. I'm glad it's relevant in your life. That's good to hear. Awesome. Yeah, reading is fantastic on any day when the moon is in an earth or air sign, but especially in this part of the zodiac where we're kind of more attuned to learning, and it's a good day to, it's always a good day to educate yourself, but certainly on a day like today where we're more in tune with the nuances of our intellect and of our relationships, and kind of as the day goes on and the moon moves into Libra, we'll see that it's more this whole energy goes from that kind of structural integrity and that structural aspect of the day, like I was talking about, more into the beauty aspect of the day, and the maybe more of the structural elements of our relationships and any sort of just personable human-to-human relationships, whatever I'm trying to say there. Because Libra is this air sign that deals with people and our people skills, and so we're going to be thinking about more, how our friend groups are kind of all meshed together, and what maybe if they aren't, what element we could add to that, or different people we could look for in our friendships and our groups, and look to people that are a little more pleasing to hear and pleasing to listen to, and with more pleasing speech and more pleasant demeanors, and with a lot more respect. This whole Libra element is going to bring a lot of respect into our lives tomorrow, and I guess in the next 2 hours or something like that, when the moon moves into Libra for 2.5 days. It also helps us with kind of political intelligence and the social structures, like I'm talking about, of our, that's kind of political in a way. It gives us more intelligence in general. Creativity is a big thing, like I've been saying. It's a nice day for gardening and collecting herbs and medicines, for wearing gemstones or new clothing, anything that kind of creates this statement of beauty about yourself. Think about all the different areas of your life and how they all fit together on a day like today, rather than getting too into the details with one or the other. This isn't a day that we're really kind of honing down into we're drilling down into one little aspect of our life. This is more of how does our life come together in all the different elements of it, and how can we, I guess, engineer that, and so that we can create this beauty and this, the life that we want to live. It's really a wonderful time for that. And I guess I'll go over to the sky map now, just to show you what it looks like in the sky so you can check it out. The moon is getting pretty full right now, so as the sun, sets deeper and deeper, the moon will be rising. I guess the moon will rise somewhere in the middle of the day, or towards the end of the day now. And I'll just show you that right now. Bing, bang, boom. Thanks for being with me here, John. It's good to have a friend in chat. Someone in chat just chilling. And you don't have to say anything or anything, but if you have any questions, just let me know. And then, so I'm going to go back and show you where this is. So, if we look here, this is the constellation of Virgo, where the moon is directly over the center of that kind of body here. And this is Spica, or Spica. I think it's Spica, as they probably say. And that is the I think it's the brightest star in the entire sky. It is right in the center of the zodiac, so it's right, it splits the difference like this sign does. This is Chitra, Spica, and it splits the difference. You can see how close the moon is to there, because I use the sidereal zodiac, which is actually star-aligned, and as opposed to the western or tropical zodiac that most people use in the Western world, America and Europe, and that is actually aligned with the seasons rather than the actual stars in the sky. I think the stars are more accurate personally, and from my experience being a Vedic astrologer. But you can see here that the moon is in Virgo, and that was my little spiel. But the moon is in Virgo. I'll kind of back it up a little bit for you. And it's getting closer and closer to that Spica. Now it's kind of in line with it, because we're a little bit ahead over here. But you'll see tonight, if you go out in the sky in the evening as the sun sets, the sun should set around, what time does it set? Let's see. Oh, I guess it says it right here, right? Where's the time? Around like 8:40 here. I guess it's gonna depend on your latitude, but if you're in line with me here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, just a little bit south in the average U.S. latitude range, then you'll see it set at around 8 to 9, 8:30 to 9. And that's when you'll start to really notice the moon, and that very, very bright star beneath the moon is Spica. So you'll see that down there in the sky, and, you know, look for the other constellations. It's kind of fun to check out. You know, Leo over here, that's a very noticeable one. Sorry, it's got away from me. And then you can see Libra as the moon, you know, this marks the middle. So Libra's this tiny little sign, and the moon kind of, or I guess, you know, we average the signs into 30-degree segments. So Libra's, you know, maybe a 5-10 degree sign, but in Virgo is like a 40-50 degree sign, if you can see here. I know the degree marks aren't there for you to know, but that's kind of how it works. They kind of cut out some of Virgo and say that that's, you know, the Libra section of the sky, just to average it out, so that, you know, there's 12 signs of 30 degrees, basically. That's how it works. So let me go back. Oh, let's see. All right, growing your wheatgrass. That sounds like a good idea. Yeah, gardening today is fantastic. Oh, it's all good. I'm starting to, you know, lose the nerves after doing this for enough time. But thanks, man. I appreciate your kind words. I really am grateful that I have good friends like you that get the word out and, you know, help me to share the wisdom that I've been learning for the last, you know, almost, I don't know, going on more than half a decade now. So, yeah, it's great to have the energy in here and have some friends around. So let me just talk about Chitra, getting back to it, and I'll talk about the strengths and weaknesses. Okay, so some of the strengths are that it gives us more of a sociability, you know, as I was talking about with that Libra energy, especially coming into the next day, you know, and next 2.5 days the moon's going to be in Libra, so we're going to see that our relationships and our social nature is heightened, strengthened. We're more able to communicate with other people and find that sense of respect and appreciation, that equal give and take that we're looking for in the Libra balancing scales, and I'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. It gives us a heightened perceptibility because we can see the structures and see the outlines and maybe get this kind of broader perspective into all the different aspects of our life that we're trying to evaluate and analyze. It makes us more independent because we have this heightened intellect. It gives us good spirits with that broader perspective. It gives us a sense of elegance, a dignification, kind of just like a dignified attitude. It makes us more judicious and able to kind of step back and find that kind of third person's or that witness perspective in order to be able to analyze things clearly, maybe like take a step back from your relationships with anyone. That doesn't have to be just sexual relationships, but that's any relationship you have, and being able to kind of judge, you know, yourself, your evolution, your development, and your way of relating to other people and the other people in your life, and kind of just analyze, you know, what's working and what's not working. It really helps us on a day like today to do stuff like that. It helps us to dress a little bit better and look a little bit more kempt or whatever. We can definitely draw on our philosophical side, and it's a great time for learning, studying, and growing in that regard. It is, let's see, yeah, it helps us with our kind of businesses if we have any. It makes us a little more business savvy and gives us this deeper sense of spiritual perspective as well in our lives, because we can kind of see how the whole universe is really kind of architected or designed, I guess is the right word, in a way that brings us all, you know, together and makes us all related to each other, that kind of butterfly effect thing where a ripple from here extends out everywhere, and we're able to see those ripples more clearly on a day like today. In terms of the shadow side, it can give us a little bit of arrogance if we kind of fall into the I guess, social Darwinism. It lends itself more to that. So we don't want to think that we're better than anyone else or that anyone else is beneath us, because we're all truly equals, just with different skills and traits. It can make us more egocentric for those reasons. It can make us more bored and more argumentative, judgmental. If we're kind of focusing on the negative a little too much in our relationships, might want to kind of internalize that on ourselves a little bit. It can make us, quick to challenge other people's points of view or to, rebut them in a way. It can also lead to extremely strong sexual desires, as our kind of sense of beauty and attractiveness and our sense of attraction is heightened. So we might be just like kind of lustfully going after things that look good, that taste good, that sound good, and that's really gonna be a prevalent theme as it relates to this whole area up here in the sky. You can see Taurus. All those planets in Taurus is really going to show this kind of obsessive, insatiable appetite for beauty and good feelings, and that can manifest in many ways, like overeating, overstimulation in any regard. That can be sexual, that can be visual, auditory, whatever. Your nose is called smell-wise, I forget right now, olfactory, I don't know. So, and taste-wise, all the senses are and even the brain, can't forget that, in Indian philosophy or in Hindu culture and in this ancient river valley civilization that I study, this whole Vedic system of astrology comes from, is really, oh shoot, I lost my train of thought right there. But anyways, so the sixth sense, there's 5 senses that are physical, and then there's the sixth sense is the mind, or our thinking capacity. So if we overstimulate our mind and we kind of think too much, which is obviously we all have a propensity to do that these days, as we're all on our computers a little, all the time, and just there's so much information going around and to be learned in this information age, this Dwapara Yuga that we live in. So yeah, we can kind of fall into the trap of overstimulation of our thoughts, and then that relates to all sorts of issues in our lives where, we're not able to fall asleep or calm down. It leads to excessive nervousness, and those are all issues that can kind of come up if we, on a day like today, or in general, just when we have this kind of overstimulation of the sensory part of the zodiac, this Taurus region. So keep that in mind. You might want to keep those sense pleasures in check and enjoy yourself, but don't get too hedonistic. Let's put it that way. And then favorable activities, I would say, to do anything dealing with health and healing, like I was saying earlier, helps you with that broader perspective. Arts and crafts, any sort of artistic ventures that you like to do, designing, interior design, spirituality in general, herbalism, gardening. For decorating, that could be decorating your body, with the clothes that you wear, or decorating your home, or decorating your garden, or whatever it is. It can be any sort of, beautifying process that calls to you as an individual. Maybe it's just, I don't know, that you brush your teeth twice today, right, when you usually do it once, that kind of thing. And that kind of doubles down on the healthcare thing. Gives us a little more charisma on a day like today, so we can do activities that involve like getting ourselves in the spotlight and or paying attention to other people that are in the spotlight and learning from them. It can be a good day for buying new things, for transacting, for home repairs and design, of course. That's the beautifying of your home. For any sort of, let's see, I'm just looking through my notes. Looks like that covers it for favorable activities. I pretty much have talked about that the whole time. And then unfavorable activities is not a great day for that confrontational aspect of our personalities. We don't necessarily want to get deep into fights or arguments on a day like today. Might not actually work too well for us either, because it'll make us look more like jerks. and more egocentric, and kind of bring out those negative qualities that other people are not attracted to. And this is a time when the moon's in Libra, and this end of Virgo is a time when we really are more sensitized to our relationships and how other people look at us, and us looking at other people. And so everyone's much more in tune with how we're portraying ourselves in society. So it's good to be aware of that. And then, yeah, that's basically what I would avoid. Gonna probably do it. There's some books about the structures of water for health to add to my collection, focusing on water this week for health by adding to my already strict water structure protocol. There you go, protocol. That's awesome. See, there you figuring out those healthy systems that we need to in order to live. It's a great day for that. Yeah, it sounds like you're spot on, John, and I hope you got a lot out of this. And yeah, everyone else, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment if you have any questions, comments, concerns, and then subscribe if you'd like to see these on a daily basis. I hope that you got a lot of value out of this. This is my goal with this whole thing. So yeah, otherwise, have a wonderful, beautiful day. Create something beautiful, that structure of it, and yeah, have fun.